Good afternoon and welcome to you all to this series on reforms in Hinduism. In this series, I want to examine a few concepts and ideas which were proposed by the late Sri Swami Vivekananda. As we all know, Swami Vivekananda was the foremost proponent of Hinduism in the recent past. His ideas have inspired many people. During his lifetime itself, he has brought in lots of changes in Hindu way of thinking. He has spread the Hindu way of thinking far and wide in US, Britain, and so many other countries. Now, let us see from one of his lectures, which was delivered at the Triplicane Literary Society in Chennai, Madras in those days. I will read out a few excerpts from his speech and we will examine them. So, first he says, every idea has to become broad till it covers the whole of the world. Every aspiration must go on increasing till it has engulfed the whole of humanity, the whole of life within its scope. This will explain why our country in the last few centuries has not been what it was in the past. Now, so what exactly the Swamiji is saying here is, Hinduism is a great idea. The ideas which are there in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, etc., are extraordinary. But have they reached the whole of the world? No, not at all. Have they reached at least all the people in Hinduism, in India? No, again, not at all. So, these great ideas have become confined to a small portion of the people of India. Now, unless the ideas become broad enough to encompass the whole world, unless every aspiration goes on increasing till it engulfs the whole humanity, until then, the idea, you cannot say it has arrived. Now, that's what the Swamiji is saying. See, the country has become very sluggish. Earlier, of course, there was no media, there was no print media, there was no electronic media, there was no social media. Nothing was there earlier. So, therefore, the confinement of the idea to a few hermitages here and there was natural in those days. But not after the print media has come. So now the time, especially now, the print media is there, the electronic media is there, the social media is there. Now it is time to spread the whole gamut of Hinduism across the world. It should reach every individual. So that's what the Swamiji is hinting at. Of course, when he was there, only the print media was there, electronic media and social media were not there, but his basic concept is that it should reach. Unless it reaches the last person, disadvantaged person of the humanity, the idea does not serve its purpose. So we will go further. Now, there were two civilizations. In the Western civilization, the Grecian one, and in the Eastern one, India. India, we find that from India have sprung up all the analytical sciences, and from Greece, all sciences of generalization. Now, we were analyzing until we arrived at the truth. Whereas, in the Western thought, they went out into the world, they analyzed the world. India analyzed the self, Greece analyzed the world. So there the external sciences developed. In India, the internal sciences developed. And then as the Swamiji says, Even at the present day, the logical capacity of the Hindus and the tremendous power which the Indian brain still possesses is beyond compare. So, when it comes to the analysis of the self, any analysis for that matter, Indians are beyond compare. Even in religion, there came the most. What happened in India after the Western and West Asian civilizations ran over the Indian civilization. So that's one of the important historical accidents in India. Even in religion, there came the most horrible degradations. That's what the Swamiji is telling. What can you expect of a race which for hundreds of years has been busy in discussing such momentous problems as whether we should drink a glass of water with the right hand or with the left hand? Now, see, the Swamiji is asking, see, there were some idiotic discussions all along. See, should you drink with the right hand or the left hand? So, can that be a great discussion? See, do we need great discussions on aspects like that? Now, again, he proceeds further. What more degradation can be there? Can there be than the greatest minds of the country have been discussing about the kitchen for several hundreds of years, discussing whether I may touch you or you touch me, and what is the penance for this touching? Still the question is there. Untouchability is a problem. The Swamiji is putting it mildly. How can you be discussing even about untouchability? It should not be a problem at all. You touching me or me touching you, and what is the penance for touching? It's an idiotic thing, it's a stupid thing. And the greatest minds start discussing that instead of going into the highest ideas of thinking. Now, the Swamiji goes on saying, the themes of the Vedanta, the sublimest and the most glorious conceptions of God and soul ever preached on earth, were half lost, buried in the forest, preserved by the few sannyasins, while the rest of the nation discuss such momentous questions as touching each other, dress, food, etc. Now, the greatest of the ideas remained in forests, in caves, with a few sannyasins, whereas the rest of the great minds were discussing whether I can touch you, whether you can touch me, and what is the penance for touching, what should be your dress, what should be my dress, and what should be the food that we should eat. So, we were burdening ourselves with small things. The Swamiji says further, the first manifest expansion of life is expansion. The first manifest effect of life is expansion. You must expand if you want to live. I went to America and Europe. I had to, because that was the first sign of the revival of national life, expansion. This reviving national life, expanding inside, threw me off, and thousands will be thrown off in that way. Now, if you have a great idea, how are you going to expand on that? First, let it spread. The Swamiji went to USA, UK, etc. to spread Hinduism. And that is what Hinduism really needed. Hinduism needed to expand to USA, UK, etc. Of course, more than anything else, it needed to expand to the lowest privileged person in India. The Swamiji says that also at many places. My touching you, you are touching me. That can't be a topic of discussion at all. Touching is not something to be discussed. You touch me, I touch you. You are divine, I am divine. As simple as that. If you feel that somebody is not divine, you have not understood what is divine. Now we'll go further what Swamiji says. It is here and here alone that the ideas of toleration were first preached. Okay, I may not have touched you, you may not have touched me, etc. But still, I tolerated you. You tolerated me. This toleration was something which was always there. Today the toleration is going. So now Swamiji says, it is here and here alone that the ideas of toleration were first preached. And it is here and here alone that toleration and sympathy have become practical. It is theoretical in every other country. It is here and here alone that the Hindu builds mosques for the Mohammedans and churches for the Christians. The Christian will not build a temple. The Mohammedan will not build a temple or church. But a Hindu will come forward to build a Mohammedan mosque and a Christian church. That level of tolerance is there among the Hindus. Of course, there are some problems. You may not touch me, I may not touch you. That's there. But still, you will tolerate me and I will tolerate you. Toleration is a great concept. Touching, one day we can abolish this practice. In practice, and Swamiji goes on saying certain wonderful things. My idea, he says, my idea is the conquest of the whole world by the Hindu race. It is the conquest of the religion and of spirituality. Hindu spirituality should conquer the whole world, because that's the only way a conquest can happen. Toleration and sympathy should pervade the whole world. And that will come only if Hinduism pervades the whole of the universe. Next, the Swamiji goes on. The best work you ever did for yourselves was when you worked for others, trying to disseminate your ideas in foreign languages beyond the seas. Why should everything be in Sanskrit? Let everything come into regional languages and everything. That's it. Let everything spread. Up India, he says, conquer the world with your spirituality. Materialism and all its miseries can never be conquered by materialism. Only spirituality can and must conquer the West. What I mean by the conquest of the world by spiritual thought is the sending out of the life-giving principles, not the hundreds of superstitions that we have been hugging to our breast for centuries. The superstitions have to be weeded out even on this soil and thrown aside so that they may die forever. These are the causes of the degradation of the race and will lead to softening of the brain. The superstition enters, brain is gone, and degradation is seized upon life. Now, Swamiji has said many things. There are many more things. We will discuss about them as time passes. Now, the Swamiji has said simple things. Superstition should go. My touching you, you are touching me. You are divine, I am divine. So, where is the question of having a question on touching? That should go. In practice, there should not be any untouchability. Likewise, differences in food, differences in dress should not differentiate people. Likewise, superstition should go. All types of superstition should go. The greatest ideas which were there, which were languishing in forests and caves with a few sannyasins, which were the greatest ideas, no doubt whatsoever, they should spread all over the world. So that is what the Swamiji has been telling, and I hope you have noted these ideas. Let us spread these ideas. Thank you. I will be back with you with some more of Swamiji's ideas. Thank you.